All right, so it's a unique type of gold rush that's happening in Russia right now. The country announced that it's cutting its U.S. currency share in half from its international reserves in 1 year. So instead, Moscow, they are opting to increase gold, yuan, and its euro holdings. So to discuss what this could mean for Russia and the global economy, I am joined by Boom Bust co-host and business extraordinaire Christy I. Thanks so much for kind of talking us through this. So, in the past 10 years, Christy, Russia has quadrupled its billion reserves, and it's continuing to stock up on gold. It's a clear sign that, Russia is kind of breaking away from its reliance on the almighty U.S. dollar, but can it completely cut itself off from U.S. currency altogether?
I don't think Russia or any country can completely cut itself off from the U.S. dollar as long as the U.S. dollar remains the dominant reserve currency. However, its power as a reserve currency is waning right now, and a lot of it is actually coming from Trump's protectionism measures. Before, in the past, a lot of his sanctions and measures, those were actually approved by the allied community. It was approved by everyone. However, in the most recently, in his manners, he has actually kind of alienated the entire group. All of his measures were done unilaterally. So because of this, a lot of countries are looking at this and saying that what happens if the U.S. turns their back on us? What happens if we become public enemy number one? So because of this is actually bolstering Putin's case, because President Putin of Russia, he actually said that he's not doing this in order to undermine the dollar. He's doing this in order to protect Russia in case there are more sanctions, in case there are more measures that are going to forbid them from using the U.S. dollar. So he's doing this to protect his own country. So similarly, every other country in the world is now looking at it and saying, like, what happens if the U.S. turns their back on us? What happens if the U.S. wants to put more sanctions, more tariffs on us? What happens then? We can't rely on the dollar too much.
And you're saying like Putin's looking out for himself. Other countries, I'm sure, are going to be doing the same thing. So do you foresee other countries dumping the U.S. dollar altogether?
Absolutely. Like as you mentioned, Russia already cut its dollar reserves in half from 44% in 2018 to just 23%. And in doing so, they boosted the RMB reserve from only 5% to now 14%. China has been doing the same thing, and India has been doing the same thing, two of Russia's biggest trading partners, in fact. And right now, in 2019, this is the first time where trade between Russia and China and Russia and India have been done 50% in their own local currencies or the euros, not the US dollar. Before, trade was 70% done in the US dollar. Now that's dropped to less than 50% for the first time in history of ever.
All right, Shalom. This is Harwan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Harakah Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and your Akwathim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Yeah, man, you see it for yourself. Yesterday, Russia made a move to ditch the dollar, right? It says what? Russia dumps half U.S. dollar holdings. And what is that called? A recession, as I was saying yesterday. And in the midst of that, they were dumping dollars. You see that? So that's called a recession. When all the nations lose faith in the dollar or faith in the country that's holding that currency, right? Or that money. Now it says, Russia is boosting gold and yuan reserves. So it's boosting its gold and it's boosting the yuan instead of dealing with the dollar. All right. Now it's funny because in 1971, you have the Nixon shock to where America removed the gold standard from the dollar. All right. They removed the gold standard. And they basically robbed these nations of their gold. All right. Now that's when you had the whole situation set up with Britain, with the IMF and all that. But anyway, now it's funny because I went to a scripture earlier dealing with the Medes, and now this right here brought me right back to it. So I want to go into that because the question is, why did Russia just dump half of its holdings of U.S. dollars, man? That shows they have no faith. Now, yesterday, past week, America made a move against China on their 70th anniversary to remove their tech companies from the American stock market. All right, which is a a blow to the China economy. All right, that's what America's trying to do. Instead of since America's fallen and their economy is failing, their currency is failing. Since all these things are failing, it seems to be increasing. The dollar seems to be increasing through to them propping up the dollar, and oil seems to be booming in America with onshore drilling, right? Where they're gonna be drilling in America now, but that's due to hyperinflation. All right, they're trying to do something with the money, so they put it into barrels, all right, onshore barrels. So the economy, everything's failing in America. So the way America's keeping itself afloat is like trying to be in a pool with somebody and they can't swim in the ocean, and they try to drown your ass. They start panicking. That's what America's doing. They're panicking. They're using deception. Now, all right. So it says what? Russia's gonna boost its gold and yuan. So they're boosting their gold reserves and yuan reserves and dumping the dollar because the dollar's failing. So they're putting sanctions on everybody, going against China, taking jabs at Russia, taking jabs at Iran, all this different shit, starting wars, right? Keeping themselves afloat and existing in that way. But this is all prophecy and all the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for these nations to be against America. All right. For America to be manifested as the daughter of Babylon that's set to be judged, man, with fire. So now this is prophecy right here. Let me get this. All right. First, I want to deal with why is Putin all of a sudden ditching half his dollars? Is it because it's just his will, or these things are just meant to happen? No, the Most High is steering this age and down this course, man. All right, using Esau and the Illuminati to steer its own ship, Esau's own ship, to perdition. All right, into World War III. So it says Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. So the king's heart, who's the kings today? The presidents, the emperors, the rulers of these nations, prime ministers, right? And actually all the people, man. It says the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Right? So, so the Lord turns the minds of man whichever way he wants to so man upon earth will act their part and play their part in this theater upon the earth, man. All right, in the sight of the Most High, to bring about his will. If you're made to be wicked, then that's what you're going to be. All right, and he's setting these nations up for the destruction of America. All right, every way of man is right in his own eyes, but Yahweh pondereth the hearts. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know. See, anybody that's living in this world, right, that you may know, that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. So the reason Esau is even ruling today is because the Most High steered things in this direction, all right, for a judgment upon the children of Israel. And he used Esau as a sword against us. But now he has the house of Esau divided, All right, it's moving quickly towards its end. All right, towards America, Esau's end. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? See, even Putin, Trump, all these heathens, man, they don't know what the hell they're doing. All right, they wake up every day just like us, but it's in the power of their hand because the earth's been given into the hand of the wicked. It's in the power of their hand to make these moves they're making. So the Lord is allowing them to bring destruction upon themselves with their own hands, man, because they're created to play the wicked, and that's just it. You can't understand that. That's why the scriptures say the ways of the Most High are above the ways of man. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So it says man's goings are of Yahweh. That's why Putin is making these moves, man. At this time, they said this is the first time in ever that this has happened, to where these nations are trading without the dollar, without American dollar. Since the dollar has been established as the world currency, this is the first time that these nations are able to trade amongst each other without using American currency, the dollar. All right, that funny money. So now they're able to do without it because it's no longer backed by gold. It's no longer backed by silver. And now, even though it's still backed by oil with certain contracts with Saudi Arabia and certain OPEC countries, still these nations have found a hedge to go to to make deals with each other without the dollar. All right. In oil, in gold, in the yuan, because the yuan is backed by gold. The dollar's not backed by gold. All right, so they're not going to delight in America's currency anymore. America's currency used to have a promise of gold with it. You see that? It used to have a promise of oil, a value to it, what you call dollar bonds. All right, on the stock market, you can trade that and you can buy gold with it. But now it has no value to gold. So anybody that has that currency as a reserve currency in their reserve basket, it becomes a cancer to their market, to their economy. And people like Trump, the tyrant, he's able to manipulate and what you would call put sanctions on these countries through that dollar and say, hey, we're going to sanction your banks. We're going to sanction this. We're going to make it so no country can deal with you, trade with you. You won't be able to use our dollar. Everybody's like, all right, man, forget your dollar. They're making other routes now. And this is it, man. Idiots like the Zabak and all these false teachers out here, they don't understand, man, that this is going to lead to the mark of the beast, the mark of the beast system, man, the RFID chip being the world currency. All right, and it's right at the doorstep, the hour of temptation. Now, all right, I'm going to end it with this. This is Isaiah 13:17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right, so now that's prophecy, man. Russia is not delighting in the gold standard of America, which is silver. Now, America, their currency was backed by gold. And basically, this is saying there's nothing that America can offer Russia and China at this moment because they want to do away with America. Now, he says what? To stir up. All right. It says to stir up, to wake. All right. It says I war ra, which would be to rouse oneself, awaken, incite. All right. Just like to act in an aroused manner, awake. So the same way that you startle a bear from his hibernation, all right? And the Lord said he was going to do what? Put hooks in his jaws and turn them back into being that Soviet Union. Talking about Russia, all right? Gog and Magog. So now that same bear that's hibernating, right, was today would be in the land of the Medes over in Eastern Eurasia, what you call Eurasia, all right, Eastern Europe. That area is centered in Moscow, all right, and that's the chief prince of all that area. And the Lord has set them up and established them as the ones that is enough. Same way the Medes with Darius, when Cyrus the Great sent them in there into Babylon from the north. When he sent them in there, that's when around 540 BC, all the way to 538 BC, when the onslaught was really happening. All right, and he established Darius, excuse me, as the king over Babylon. All right. The same way that happened, the Lord has set up has set America as a threshing floor for these nations to thresh on, just like those nations were threshing on the ancient Babylon. They're going to thresh the floor of the daughter of Babylon, America. All right. So the Lord is what has stirred up and roused up the bear, the Medes. Right. Now see the Medes. All right. It will say Madai, right? Madai. That's Medes, right? Now it's crazy because the Medes were the country that took part in taking down Babylon. All right. Now I just had to screenshot this from my computer because it didn't really have the detail in the word Madai. Now, the root word of Madai, which would be da'i, all right? Ma would be of, or Madai. That word means enough. So the Medes, that word Medes means enough. And that's spiritual right there. It says able, according to, after ability, among, as oft as, more than enough. So the Medes are more than enough and more than equipped for the battle. The Most High prepared them for that. I made them the guard of the nations. It says enough from, in sense, much as, sufficiently, too much, very much, more than enough. Sheesh. All right, so that's why Russia's coming out with all these different advanced technology and missiles and shit. All right. All right, I'm gonna run through this quick. This is Revelation 13:2. And the beast which I saw was likened to a leopard. It's talking about NATO. And it started, Esau's kingdom started with, really kicked off with Alexander, the leopard, right? The Greeks, the Macedonians. And his feet were as the feet of a bear. So his end is going to end in the time of the 10 toes. All right. And also with Russia being set up and established to destroy it. All right. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion, talking about Britain. And the dragon gave him his power. All right, that's talking about NATO and the EU. Now, the point I want to deal with is the bear being Russia. Everybody know that the bear is Russia. Russia uses the bear as the symbol. All right, matter of fact, why not? All right, you see right here, I typed in the question, why does Russia call itself the bear? Now check this out. Introduction today. The bear is a symbol of Russian nationalism. All right. Meaning covering different nations. All right. Expanding itself. In fact, after the fall of the Soviet Union around 1991, the new Russian parliament nearly adopted the bear for its coat of arms instead of the Tsarist double-headed eagle. And internationally, the bear is used in political cartoons and caricatures to represent Russia. Now it says, so basically, it's basically saying what? Check this out. They try to say it's used right here for, it was used to imply that Russia is big, brutal, and clumsy. And now if you understand nationalism, and you have the situation back in BC, ancient times with the Medo Persian Empire. Now it was originally called the Persian Empire, but it was called the Medo Persian Empire by Xerxes later on. All right, around 480 BC. Now you had around 550 BC. That's when Xerxes, Cyrus the Great, took Media. All right, from Xerxes, whatever his name is, the king of the Medes. All right, Darius, his father. All right, he took the throne with a military coup. And when he took the throne over the Medes in 550, around 549, that's when in 547 he took Lydia. All right. And then 539 or 540, he took Babylon. All right, you see that? So he was taking all these places, taking them over. And that's what it means by the bear. All right, it was over Medes, Persia, Lydia, and what you call Babylon. 4 feet of the bear. Now it says ferocity. All right, check this out. All right, I want to get into the word bear. Where it says bear. Check this out. It says, and the feet represent the end of the system. And the Lord said He's going to take them at the feet. All right, so bear would be, all right, arctos. It says, as obstructing by ferocity. Wow. All right, ferocity. So Russia is ferocious, man. They used to call them the wild beasts. All right, back in the day. Now NATO is that beast. All right, they all try to make names for themselves, but the Lord gave them names spiritually, who they would be called: spiritually Egypt, spiritually Sodom. All right, so this is the word ferocity, and it says, so Russia is ferocious, and it matches up with the word Medes, because it says more than enough. All right, so it says what? Fierceness, bold, courageous, warlike. And everybody know Russia is a warlike nation. They train all their citizens in the army. All right, so all their citizens are trained. Even their women, they had a video of a woman, a Russian woman, walking through a damn bomb. That shit blew up. She had a suit on, protective suit, thin one too, and she walked right through that shit. So they tough, man. You remember the cat from Rocky? He's like, I will break you. Yeah, so they warlike. Fierce, savage, headstrong. Cruel, right? They're headstrong. Cruel, literally. They have rules against homosexuality. They put them to death over there and imprison them. I think it's imprison them. All right. In America, they give them homosexuals laws and stuff like that. It says wild looking, wild beast. All right. It's crazy. All right. It says, I just want to bring this out, man. we all know that NATO is the beast that the scripture's talking about, and it says, and also in other times in the Bible where it says beast, it say like in the third beast, the fourth beast, the fifth beast. The beast gonna be talking about kingdoms, all right, or countries. Now, like Russia was known as a wild beast as well, but it's known as the bear, all right. And NATO is the beast that the scriptures speak of, that the whore is going to ride upon, all right, and be tied to the dragon. It says Russia is a beast from the deep sea with tentacles. U.S. State Department, the Moscow Times. Russia suspected intelligence efforts worldwide resemble a tentacled beast from the deep sea, the United States Department spokesman said. So I just want to read that to show that they do use these terminologies towards these countries. All right. Beast, the dragon, the two-headed eagle, the bear, the lion for Britain. They know, and the Lord is making them put them names upon themselves. Because Russia used to have the two-headed eagle, then they changed it to the bear after the Soviet Union fell. America had something else, and they had different slogans that they changed and put "In God We Trust" on the dollar for political gain with Eisenhower, right? Establishing them with NATO and the beast and the dragon. So and they took on the eagle as their symbol, and Russia took on the bear. All right, representing what? Its ferocity. All right, back to the scripture, Isaiah 13:17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. So we know who the Medes are, Russia. All right. The nation that the Lord has said that they're going to be a guard to the other nations. All right. Creating space for these weaker nations to say they're strong. All right. All of them having armed with shield and buckler, having missile defense shields and missiles. And it's all stemming from Russia and China. All right, it says, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it, right? They're going to have enough gold from China and around the world. All these nations, like Russia has so much gold, man. All right, and oil and other commodities, man, assets. They're not going to want to deal with America's assets, and they're not going to want anything from America. Now let's look up silver. All right, because America used to be, their currency used to be backed by silver and by gold. All right, so silver is basically what? Money. So they're not going to what? It says kasap. And it says the silver, which shall not regard their money. So they're not going to regard. All right. It says to plait, interpenetrate, to weave, to fabric, to plot, to contrive, to think, regard, value. Wow. So account, compute, make a judgment, imagine, count, esteem, and to invent, reckon. Wow, man, pute. So that's basically them dumping the dollars. All right. So they're not going to deal with America's money. Now, this is the definition of money. All right. Now, it says a current medium of exchange in the form of coins. So Russia's not going to accept or account or deal with the dollar, because the dollar is a threat with sanctions tied to it. And all these other nations are like, yo, if they kick China out of the stock market and they putting sanctions on Iran and on China and Venezuela, anybody that deals with the dollar, we might as well start pulling away from the dollar and dumping them out of our reserves. So that way America have no power over them. And that's what Russia is pushing, promoting right now. All right. The demise of the dollar. Or the power of America is being stripped away. A current medium of exchange in the form of coins. All right, coins would be silver, right? But they stole all the silver out of the money. So America doesn't have that really. If they do, it's really owned by these other nations that own the debt of America. All right, and banknotes. That's the dollar, or what you would call dollar bonds. Coins and banknotes collectively. All right, so that's money. So collectively, so they're not gonna regard anything that America offers, man, even the gold. It says they shall not regard silver or the money. And as for gold, all right, that's the gold. They basically don't need. I'm gonna read it. They shall not delight in it. All right, because they're not gonna need it. They're gonna have enough gold. It's like after you eat and you full, and somebody want to offer you some money, like, no, I'm good. You see that? Yeah, I don't delight in that. To incline to bend, to be pleased with, the desire. So they're not gonna bend to their sanctions. They're not gonna need America's dollar or be afraid of their threats with the dollar. So Russia's moving on to other currencies, building their reserves in gold and yuan and the renminbi, their own currency, or the ruble, I mean. I think it's renminbi, I can't remember. I think it's the ruble. Building up in other currencies, man, in silver and oil and what's it called? XRPs, which is their version of the cryptocurrency market or blockchain. So that's all prophetic, man. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And they're going to ultimately shoot missiles on America. All right, so there's nothing America can offer to get out of this judgment. You know, the Lord has put it in Russia's heart to do his will. And they don't need the silver, they don't need the gold. They don't trust the money of America no more. They dumping the dollars. They ditched half their reserve. So this is it, man. All these other nations, they're going to follow suit, you know.